There we go, live on the simulcast. Well, there you go, folks. Just gone past 7 o'clock in Queensland. And for those who've just come in on Facebook and YouTube to watch the shows, fantastic. Of course, we're in Queensland and we broadcast at 7 p.m. and you'll probably just realise that from next early hours of Sunday morning in Australia, we'll be going to daylight saving, but not Queensland, Northern Territory or Western Australia. So for our friends down south, just make a note, it'll be 8 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. And naturally enough, you all know the drill. Top of the totem pole in the Northern Hemisphere, in the lady in pink is Andrena. And the two men are in black. There you go. It's a black day for Australia.
I wouldn't know about that. Okay, welcome everybody. And for those old and new listeners to Dreaming the New Dream, today it's Thursday, the 28th of September, and we've only got a few days left before we hit October, would you believe? Anyway, today it's my great pleasure to welcome Neil H. on the show. Welcome, Neil, and it's lovely to have you on here.
Hello, Andrena, and thank you for having me. Lovely to be here.
So we go back, we were just talking 1997-ish, when my sister and I and Sandra, we all used to go to Bill Harrison's workshops and different things. And then Bill always used to play your music. So I know you sort of hit the scene around that time. And I remember he always had the picture of Patrick's of healing hands and playing your music. So we've had your music ingrained in our ears for quite a long time. Yeah. So, and I've got CDs of yours and I've seen you at the shows and all that. So I love your work. I love your,
thank you.
How you put it all together. So would you like to start how it all started? Did you come from a musical background? Were your parents, would you like to share your story?
Okay. Well, my background in music is that I have had no musical training at all. So I purely play really for myself, if that makes sense, in that I've had no actual formal training. And so purely how I do what I do is purely an expression of feeling within the moment. It's all very much spontaneous reactions. And but very early on, I was very much inspired by certain electronic music, certain types of music that was very interesting. But was very much advised to find my own sound, to find the sound that was about me, about what I could express. And that's the one thing that I love and adore about music is the ability to express a feeling within the moment, as and when it happens. And it's an honest feeling, it's an honest reaction. You couldn't get a more pure reaction than the moment exactly now when you're actually playing or performing, however it is. It's and that's it. And then I just hit record and the results are what people hear. The thinking and the technological side is afterwards for titles and looking for paintings and covers and things. But yeah, it's all very spontaneous. So no musical lessons at all.
Yeah, fantastic. So what was your very first CD that you put out?
Well, the very first album I first released was back in 1993, 30 years ago this year, and I'm celebrating my 30th anniversary since starting, and that was an album that was on cassette tape called Echoes from the Mist, and it was only a small, simple thing. It was just a group of tracks, and my grandmother at the time was she was doing a reflexology course. And she said, "Oh, that's nice. I like what you're playing there, and we could do with some of that in our little sessions." Well, I hadn't a clue what any of that was back then. I mean, I was only young. I was only about 17, I think, 17, 18. And then the idea was to then go to a studio, because I didn't have the gear I have now. I don't have the home studio like I have now. To find a studio where I could record these tracks. And back in the day, it was a huge mixing desk with reel-to-reel, Rampex reel-to-reel tape. So it was very much early days. And and I had literally a week to record this whole album in. So now I have the freedom whenever, 24 hours, to sit here, play something, whenever the moment inspires me. But back then it was literally a week to record this whole project. So I had to memorize everything, so I couldn't write any of it down, can't read or write music at all. And that was it. It was just go there, record this, and then the rest is history.
And what a gift that you didn't study music and you're doing it from your own being, if you like.
Yeah, well, I'm not kind of influenced, if that makes sense, from those kind of structured ways of working. I just play purely how it feels, or why would I feel it otherwise? It's there for a purpose. It's there for a reason. The hardest part is actually being here and being available. So I'm here and available without the distractions of life, you could say. And most of the time I record here at nighttime during the stillness, because there's something quite about the energy about that's kind of, I find, very, very powerful and far more, I don't know, less distracting, I suppose.
Yeah. I remember having a cassette tape. Oh God, I can't remember when. You used to, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to do with my soul's frequency or something. And you put something together, and I remember I used to play it in my little cassette.
Oh, right, yes. That was something that I did early on, or quite a few years ago. So I worked on variations of working not just with music, but actually with sound itself and certain frequencies and things, and seeing how certain frequencies can affect the body and the mind, and how certain ways of working with the sound and the vibration of the sound can actually enhance someone's ability to relax easier, to relax better, to be for their own for well-being. And rather than the structural themed music, what about the individual's own particular sound? And I did a thing called, I think, Resonation of the Soul, I think it was called. Yeah, where it was taking someone's name and turning the name into a sound, into a chord, so they could feel their own vibration, because everyone's going to be different to everyone else. And that was part of a thing that started my kind of vibrational album series, which went on to be planets, angels, and zodiac signs, and other colors and other different things like that. So yeah.
And
that's a different approach.
Yeah. So you don't do that anymore?
No, I mean, I used to do it. It used to be on cassette tape, of course, but then cassette tapes don't really exist anymore, and it's a bit of a challenge to do it on CD, but also because it was a very personal thing, and I used to do it on a workshop basis, where I would take so many people and then turn their sound into their name into sound. It was a fascinating thing, but also it took a lot of energy out of me personally. I enjoyed it immensely, and maybe it'll come back to that. But also I found that that particular process could work very well on a generic level. So to go with albums, to do with angels, planets, colors, things that people could use for like chakra cleansing, things like that, on a more of a group scale.
Right, you mentioned earlier about your awakening. Would you like to share how you've become awakened?
My awakening? No. I don't quite know how to answer that. I was very much, as I said before, influenced on electronic music. I mean, electronic music, certain artists in particular, and then I discovered by stripping away all the very a dear friend of mine, bless him, Chris Porter, would listen to various different things that I was doing, because I had no idea whether I was even good enough. Would this music be good enough for people? I don't know. I mean, you don't, do you? And I was very aware of that. And he would kind of listen to bits and say, well, that's nice. This bit here is nice. That bit is nice. And I would strip away all what we called the work stuff that's already been done, the more high-tech, technical kind of music, and then focus just purely on the simple melodic melodies that would kind of create a sense of peace, relaxation, just something. In other words, to find my sound. So I suppose you could call that an awakening from where was discovering my sound, and where that could lead. And then the multiple facet ideas of where that could lead again. And all that is all intuitive. I mean, if I had an idea for a piece of music right now, it would be now. I'd record it, and that would be it. What will happen next? I don't know. It's all down to being, as I said, available, ready in the moment to be here to record and allow the moment to dictate that.
And I wonder how many people can say that when they do their music.
Well, I don't know, but that's how I do it.
Yeah,
couldn't be more I couldn't be more simple than that, because I can't read or write a note, and I couldn't tell you what key any of the music's in. It's just, that feels nice, and then I hit record, and that's it. It's quite simple, it's quite straightforward. Sometimes I've done that in a live environment as well, in a live concert environment, where I've tried to be within the space where there's lots of people around and see if that can help, because sometimes other people in the same space can act as another energy. In a way, it makes it like a spontaneous live session. And those are other things that I'm looking forward to possibly do in the future, where I've already started working on taking people on journeys with in the 432 hertz frequency, where people lie down and in a sound bath kind of way, but with my interpretation using synthesizers, because then the synthesizer can take me wherever the intention I feel takes me. I'm not limited by what the sound can be. If I want to go a bit further than the conventional instrument, a synthesizer can do that. And that's what I love about it, the endless possibilities.
Because I know, like, I've gone to different festivals and different workshops and different things, and all of a sudden your music has got its own unique sound, and you think, oh, there's one of Neil's. You recognize your music, wherever you go. Anybody could play an odd piece. Well, I would know your music anyway, but then I've known your music for like over 20 odd years. So yeah. God. I'm feeling ancient, eh? Anyway,
not at all.
Are you going to give us, how about, have you got the very first one that you did, was Echoes in the Mist? Oh no.
Yeah.
Right. Have you got it in order, Jeff? Have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, how's it?
Because I mean, I used to love your whale one, then I loved the mermaid one, and then I love, you've got so much out there.
Just hang on a sec. I thought I had that set up.
So do you do, while he's looking, do you do many? Yeah. I know you always do the Secret World weekend.
Oh yeah.
You're a regular there.
Yeah.
So how many other shows do you do with it throughout the year?
I do many, maybe 3, 4, 5 a month. I mean, this month coming up, I've got 7 fairs or 7 events in the 1 month. Including on the 14th of October. This is the plug, everyone. A concert which I'm performing of my latest work, which comes out on October the 14th. Oh, wow. So I'm quite excited about that. Again, all these things are very much unplanned, but it's going to be an interesting thing. And when I play live, I use lots of visual effects and things as well. So it creates an immersive visual sound experience for the listener. Very, very minimalistic and simplistic. It's not kind of like a discotheque or anything like that. It's really just to get people away from the busyness, the very often stressful way of life, the modern life, and to try and create a moment of peace, relaxation for the mind and body, just to kind of come away. And it's a very simple thing, just to sit for, 10, 20, 30 minutes and listen to a piece of music and feel calm, feel more relaxed, and feel in tune with yourself, or give yourself a little bit of a bit of a reset, if you like. Whereas this day and age, everything's so fast, so busy, so it's got to be tomorrow, it's got to be next week, it's got to be next month, that we all forget the importance of right now, the importance of where we are right now. And that's what I love about, again, what I do. It's being available now. And right now we're chatting and talking about things, and life is good. So it's, yeah.
And where is your concert being held?
It's here. It's on Dartmoor in the UK. A little village hall called Maniton Parish Hall. We've only got 50 people coming. It's a 50 seater capacity. We've got about 14 tickets now left, which is very exciting. And I'm sharing a new work, which is the third in the trilogy of the Merlin trilogy, which I could talk a bit later about, or now, I don't mind. Of the stories about conversations with Merlin that my dear friend of mine wrote, and I kind of transposed that to give it like a musical score, if that makes sense. So sometimes I can be inspired by just a spontaneous moment, but also it can be by a story, it can be by painting. Depends whatever the moment is, wherever the feeling goes.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so we're ready to. Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, I was just going to say about Carol's put about Neil's music. Oh. H stands for healing or happy. Yeah. No, yeah. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. And then
that's very lovely.
I don't think I know that. I know quite a lot of. Do you find like people at the show still like to buy CDs? Because like I'm the older brigade, and I like a CD. I'm not downloading MP3s and all of that sort of stuff. But that's just me. So do you still find that you're selling a lot of CDs, or do people say, "Can I get an MP3?"
Yeah, it's a bit of both, actually. I mean, it's more of I mean, people see the CDs there, they listen to it, and of course, they may decide that. But I'm probably getting about 45% now of people on the stores asking, "Oh, I don't have a CD player anymore. Can we download it? Can we do this?" Or, "Oh, I must get my CD player out again," and things like that. But in a way, that's what I like about it, because the music, again, brings the people to the stall, and then they then hear something they're interested in, and then the conversation starts. I have, in the last 2 years or so, produced a USB stick where people can literally purchase a USB stick, choose what albums they want, and I can put the music directly onto the USB stick. And that's been a nice option also for the downloaders, shall I say? But yeah, I mean, I've created a Bandcamp page, and people can download everything that I've done on MP3 via my website anyway. So yeah, it is a kind of a variation. Although more people are coming back to CDs, I'm finding that this year has been a very, very good year CD wise. You just never know. A lot of it depends on the audience, but also the area I go to. It's always a fascinating to find out really what people are looking for. But I try to have everything available where I can.
Okay, Pathway to Wisdom.
This is the first of the Merlin trilogy. which was first released back on cassette tape again in 1997, which would have been when I would have first gone to Bill Harrison's Healing Weekend in his garden, a little kind of garden thing. I remember it well and vividly because I had a tiny little table, not like the big, vast, almost array of CDs I have now, literally about 4 or 5 tapes all just lined up. And Bill was always so incredibly generous with his way of just being, and his way of encouraging. That's the word, encouraging me to play, to always be there available to play music on the stage, to talk about it, to share it as often as possible. He'd often say, "Up you go, Neil, and play a bit more," something like this, and it was wonderful. Really was fabulous memories.
Yeah, gosh.
And that's the other thing with music; it can create such a fabulous memory. Instantly, when you hear a piece of music, you can remember where you were when you first heard it, or who you were with, or whereabouts you were. It has a almost timeless quality with it, to it.
Excuse me, I got the sniffles this morning.
Oh, bless.
What was I going to say? What is your most favorite piece for yourself? Is there one that really...
Well, the obvious and question's going to be, they all have a special part of me because they're, in a way, they're kind of a sonic biography of my life, really, from the age of 17 to now. So they all have a potential, but certain ones stand out because of what they meant. I did an album in 2019 based on the seasons, and it was based on all 4 seasons. But I had the idea to record each part of each season at the height of each season, so the equinoxes and solstices. And we couldn't do the spring version live because of the pandemic. So I invited Nigel Shaw, wonderful, beautiful flute player here on Dartmoor, to add his sound. There's certain sounds that, even though I like playing a lot of music myself and playing as much as I can myself, there are certain particular sounds or certain energy from other people's sounds that I like to merge with mine and create textures and colors that can really stand out as a combination. And I've respected and known Nigel's music for many, 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 many years. And so for me, this was important. This was quite a unique thing to actually share a stage and perform this music with him for the first time after knowing him for so long was a real highlight for me personally. And I always liked the Seasons project with him because of that memory of that. But I'm always going to say the next album, because I don't know what will happen next. And that's the exciting part, the unknowing of, where am I going to go next musically, and how is that going to be presented? Because I honestly don't know. It's just another spontaneous, channeled, intuitive reaction, if you like.
Fabulous. Right. I got a job to hear it. Is it me?
Oh no, I lowered it down so that we can have it simmer in the background and you guys could talk. I'll turn it up now that you guys have stopped talking.
Yeah, so I'm kind of playing the keyboard parts here. Then Nigel comes in on the chorus with the beautiful flutes that he makes and records with.
All right.
Lovely. I know it's like music is so powerful, and you could be going along, you know, happily doing whatever, and then a piece of music comes on and it could touch your soul, and up comes the emotion without, oh my God, where did that come from? But it, you know, it's an immediate reaction, isn't it, to
Absolutely.
power, you know, music is so powerful.
And you kind of know when it's the right piece of music for you to hear, because you get those tingling sensations or hair standing up on the back of your neck. And that's what I was referring to by that kind of feeling, or that that kind of vibrational energy, the resonance that you feel. You think, oh yeah, that's almost your own intuitive self telling you, this music's for me. This is what I need to be hearing right now. It's your body's giving a response to something, or why would it be there otherwise?
Yeah.
You know, it's the same with, I mean, I've always loved film scores. It's the same thing for that. You take an amazing film, but take the film score out, it's a whole different film to watch. The music can really add, and it always does and always will add. I mean, sound is with us all the time. I mean, you can open your window in the morning and have a palette of beautiful bird life, or the city, depending on where you live. But yeah, I mean, people vacate to be near the sea because of the sound of the sea. So it's, you know, sound is everywhere, and it's such a fabulous thing.
And you're talking about the sea. Where I am currently, I'm in Bude, and I've been down here for about 10, 11 days, and it's been absolutely magical. I don't know, never explored Bude before, but I'm surrounded by trees, and of course we've had a lot of wind lately, and it just sounds like I got the ocean. It's just lovely. I think it really sounds like being at the ocean. So yeah, very special. But yeah, you know, sound is so powerful. And we are
It
all,
is.
we are sound, we are frequency, we are energy, you know, vibration. So
It's a very powerful healing tool. It really is. You know, I think it's personally, I think it's one of the strongest forms of energy that there is. I really do. I mean, you know, it's an honest thing. I mean, what only thing that I would say that concerns me on the flip side of that is it's the intention of how it's used. Because music can be used in such a beautiful way to inspire and to uplift wonderful things that should be lifted, but also it can be used in the opposite way. And that's something that, you know, that's disturbs me a lot, to think that such a wonderful, beautiful thing is being, I don't use the word too much, abused, but is being mistreated for other purposes and for other gains, other than the source of the intention of what it should be about, which is the pure link to the raw energy of the universe.
I know, like, you know, King Charlie's event, I thought it was like a blimmin' funeral. That's my thoughts. And I thought, my God, it was such a somber affair. And I thought, why don't they have something more uplifting? And, you know, anyway.
That's
So
a different type of music again, of course. I mean, I recently went to Wells Cathedral and saw some beautiful 400-year-old choral music being sung, and that kind of had my hairs standing up to think, wow, this is incredible. You know, because that's the difference when you're in these places and hearing those voices singing. Oh, I mean, it's quite something very, very special, and fabulous. So you don't have to plug it in. They were just singing purely with the voice. And that's beautiful harmonies. But I mean, 400-year-old music still being sung now, it's just, it's a legacy that is vital. I think it's a vital legacy to our heritage. You know, music's constantly changing all the time. I mean, music now is really all about image. It's very much about image. It's not, I sometimes think it comes away from what music is about, the raw pureness of where sound comes from. It's not about hear the music, is about the person that goes with it now. And I've always felt that for me, the music is before me. It's very much before me. I'm just the vessel, the channel of which something comes and emerges. And if people want to hear it, enjoy it, wonderful. But equally, that's what I've always felt like that way. I've always felt that way. It's never been about me per se. I mean, obviously I'm here and I do what I do, but the intention of how I do it is a clear message, and there it is. And people hear it when they hear it back on the CD or the download or however they're hearing it. from the pure intention of how it was first came through. There's no, oh, I now must go and do this, or I'm promoting this with it, or I'm promoting that with it. It's not about that.
So
Sorry, got a bit heavy then.
no, it's fine. How many CDs have you put together altogether?
Well, with my latest one coming out, as I said, at the October 14th concert, it'll make 35.
Wow.
And I've done numerous other projects for other people as well as commissioned projects, which is all spontaneous. So I record the voice and then build the music around the voice as if the voice is telling me the story of where to go with the music itself. It keeps everything individual that way. Everything is, again, spontaneous, totally in the moment. And I never stop and go, oh, I'll go back and re-record. It's just there it is. And
And
long may it continue.
And your covers, they're very, I mean, a lot of them are very celestial and I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I know a lot that you've had with Patrick. Are all of these Patrick's, or are these a lot of your own?
Well, the paintings are very much as important. They're important to me. That's one of Patrick's there now, Winter Stillness one there. A lot of the all the paintings are as important to me as the music itself. They're the music's identity. I always like to have the energy of the cover to have some sort of connection, or have a connection to the music, rather than just be a pretty image to sell an album. It's got to relate. And so that one in particular we're looking at now with Winter Stillness was a Patrick Gamble image called A Winter's Dream. And I was playing right here where I am now, just playing some simple piano, some choirs, bell sounds around winter time. And I thought, I quite like that. That would be quite nice. And I'd re-recorded some of my previous pieces in the 432 hertz frequency. And then asked Patrick, I said, well, I've seen this picture and it resonates with what I'm doing around this era, this time of the year. And it might provide a bit of winter stillness in the sometimes difficult times winter can bring for people. And this will create a moment of calm. And as always, Patrick was incredibly supportive and very kindly gave us permission to use the image. But he's not the only one I've used. I've got other artists as well who have used paintings and things. That's actually a photograph of me stood in the middle of a field.
Really?
Yes. And elements, meaning elements of me, elements of my music. So elements, I created 3 playlists over the lockdowns, and effectively the idea of that was to create long tracks that people could listen to during what could have been a difficult time for people, so they could hear full samples of my music. Oceanscapes, another one I did. I think I did that. It's available as a free download on my website. Just a little bit of ambient music with some added natural sounds. The idea of I think that was the beginning of the year, something like that. Beginning of the year, I thought, I've just done something that's quite nice. Maybe I'll give that as a free download.
That's nice.
Yeah, I took that photograph there.
Probably looks like from Glastonbury. In the pond.
Actually, it's in the gardens at Ford Abbey, which is near Chard and Cricket St Thomas here in Devon. And I took that picture many years ago. But I always wanted to do a project connected to peace, or the feeling of peace, the feeling of what that might give. And so I created a piece where I created the vibration or the resonance of peace for a whole hour, so people can feel that vibration for the whole hour. And then tune in, meditate, go wherever the mind, body needs to be. There's no voices, there's nothing telling you where to go. It purely is just sit, feel, and go where you need to be. And that was also recorded in the 432 hertz frequency as well, which is something I've switched to using very much a lot recently, or the last 3-4 years. So, yeah. Oh, that's by a Portuguese artist, a dear friend of mine called Joe Masip. He does sacred geometry, and all by hand. Everything's done by hand, and usually it's like silver and gold pens and things like that. And then he'll then put it, illuminate it through computer graphic, to create these beautiful pieces, beautiful images. And that one's called The Wheel of Life, but I used it for an album project I did called Ether. Ether being the fifth element that combines the four elements together. And I was very much drawn to the idea of this less is more feeling. And what would that space be like to meditate on? What would that be like to be? So I created a piece of music, which is an hour. Originally it was 8 hours, but I had to compress it to an hour because it's using a system called generative music. And generative music is bringing a more mathematics, scientific side into working with sound. So I'm starting 3 notes off at 3 different intervals. And by the time they all syncopate all next to each other or become in tune with each other, you're talking weeks, months, depending on the sequence. And so I like that because it's an ever-evolving energy of sound as opposed to a piece of music where you can hear the beginning, the middle, and the end. With ether, it's constantly evolving, a constantly evolving texture, because the mind can't work out the beginning, the middle, and the end. It just drifts, and so it's good for meditation. Maybe that's another plug by me there, but
yeah, why not? No, this is all about you, Neil.
Resonance of Zodiac. That's another one of Joma's images. Lovely Zodiac one, and that was a 2 CD one I did based upon the vibrations of the zodiac signs. So it takes you through the different zodiac signs. But yeah, and that kind of bridged the space between my resonation series and the reflective work that I did. Ether is part of the reflective music, reflective thinking, reflective meditation, just thinking inwardly. Whereas vibrational healing is a different thing altogether. And that's about 10 minutes per zodiac sign. So people can see, yeah. Yeah. Well, that was me in concert, and last year and this year I did 2 concerts, one in Dartmoor, one in Somerset, called Night of Enchantment. And during those evenings, I decided to change some of the music and uplift it to make it more of a live concert feel, a little bit more of a celebration. And so I released a small EP called Night of Enchantment with 5 remixed tracks. Some of them dating far back to the Delicate Touch days and the Secrets of Fairies days, up to something a little bit more modern. So yeah, it was just having a bit of fun, really, and it's got a nice uplifting feel. And there's my latest work, my latest album. That's that painting is called Across the Dimensions. It's by a wonderful Cornish artist, which is appropriate as you're in Cornwall, in Bude, called Ian David Spencer. And I met Ian a few years back now at similar Mind, Body, Spirit events where he's exhibiting his work. And 30 years on from Echoes from the Mist, it was just a perfect follow-on painting. The image just immediately said, yes, that's the painting that I need for this. And so I asked if I could kindly use permission to use it. And what's lovely is he now uses the music as well when doing some of his work. So in a way, we all work with each other. You know, I mean, colors, how we see energy, sounds, how we hear energy. So the two combine perfectly. But so yeah, that's was a lovely project I did with my friend Chris Porter. Chris Porter is a man whom without I wouldn't be doing music. I was very much a teenager looking for direction, if you like, and he was very much someone who had a good ear to listen. But while I went to visit him, he was playing the kind of music I do, or kind of gentle music. So that's nice. What's that? And I do that kind of thing. And that's when our connection started with working together. And he writes beautiful words, beautiful poetry. And this is a connection between his poems and my music together. So a lot of his words are about philosophy, about a lot of it's deep thinking stuff. It's really, really lovely. But I find him very much a life coach from that perspective. It's been very, very supportive and continues to be. And he also wrote all of the Merlin saga trilogy as well of stories, which were conversations with Merlin as if he was like a guide, a spirit guide. No connection to the Arthurian legend, but which is very uplifting, inspiring. But word, like music, can take you places, can add a different dimension of thought.
I'll tell you what else he's done. He's got words to music, music to words. And whilst you look like there's a candle here, you can see the male face here, and then you can see the female face here.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
He's playing words.
And that was his design. He also designed that, and he wrote a lovely poem about that connection between the two, which is which the book of all the poems comes with the CD.
Yeah, that's interesting because you know, like a lot of people do the music and then they bring the words in, but there's a lot of people, like you say, written lovely poetry and words, but haven't got the music to go with it. So
yeah,
interesting.
That was the follow-on. Again, his own design, but he had written a lovely selection of poems, I think back in the 80s, and he always carried around a notepad and pen in his back jean pocket, hence the cover. And always ends his letters to people as love and friendship, Chris. That's just the way he is, such a lovely and very inspiring gentleman. And he then asked me or commissioned me to write some music for this project. Very, very simple, but very, very beautiful words and poetry. Yeah. And as we did the Seasons album earlier, this was the worded meditational brother or sister album, if you want to call it that way. Whereas Chris would has written reflective words on each season, so people can listen to it at the beginning of each season to meditate on each season, or whoever it is. It's again lovely words. And at the concerts when I promoted this album, he would read. That would be the intro to the concert, where he would read each of the passages out to the audience before I would take them on the meditation of either spring, summer, autumn, and winter.
Lovely.
Bit like Vivaldi, eh?
Yeah, I've got a slightly smaller orchestra than he has. Just me.
Right. So are you playing anything else?
Back to Echoes there. And
the Echoes. That's a golden oldie.
Yeah, we played that one, I think, earlier. I think you got one in there, Mermaid one, which is quite nice. Divine, that's quite a nice one. And Secret Garden, which are ones I'm more known. I think I've been quite known for those. Secrets of Fairies and Mermaid.
Mermaid, we go with Mermaid.
That's Divine, the Divine track. And that's another different type of collaboration, not only with a flute player and with words, but also with a singer.
And I know for people that used to go to Bill's and the workshops and what have you, would this like a reminder of going back in time, eh?
Yeah.
So that female provides that ethereal sound that you normally get from Lord of the Rings, and quite celestial, ethereal, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had her down to the studio just to do some sessions to see what would happen. It's very spontaneous, intuitive again. There was no real project in mind as such. And it was only a few years later that I still had samples and things of those particular stems of the voiceovers and things and the tracks that I thought I could work well with that. And it was just too nice not to do anything with. And so I used that voice on several parts of the Mermaid album, which works really nicely. It was lovely to use a real voice. I mean, I've got lots of synthesized choirs and voices here, but there's something about the real voice that really comes through on particular tracks or particular projects. Because that's the other thing. That's also another spontaneous thing. If I think, oh yeah, I need a bit of this or I need a bit of that, like the flutes with Nigel, like the voice on Divine or wherever. I mean, I'd also worked with Celtic harp and acoustic guitar player on the Waterfall album, which I did many years ago as well. But I met them on stage at an event in Penzance in Cornwall, and they just happened to be playing one side of the stage. I was playing the other, doing my thing on intervals. And I said, oh, why don't we try something together? Oh, let me just start playing, and I liked the connection of what we're doing, and then the rest ended up on an album. So it could be as easy as that. You never know. Exactly, yeah, because it's true, it's honest, it's how it is. It's not for any other purpose than to honor the music itself, and that's the main thing for me. I try to honor whatever I receive musically and do my best if I'm able and capable to share that. Great.
Yeah. So when you're sat there, go on.
I see in your studio there, and you got the window that you're looking out to. I noticed that when you watch like guys like John Williamson and got the orchestra and they put up the movie that's in movies right there, and then he's got to compose the mood of that particular scene. Yeah, so obviously they have a storyboard that's going to dictate how that particular scene's going to be played, and then he's got to then improvise to play that particular music, whether he's going to take you into the heart space or whether you're going to go up into the higher realms, or whether you're going to be feeling boom, boom, like the depression, or somebody's coming, the Alfred Hitchcock type of theme. That's a really art form, and I know, speaking with Tim Weeder at the Healing Weekend, when he was classically trained and he was as an apprentice, I think that's the best way to say it, was sent to Paris to work with this maestro, and of course everybody knows him as Tim, but this Parisian would call him Timothy, Timothy, and he was expected to play with his flute. Tim was saying to me, the Louvre might have paintings, but this guy has got paintings. And all his Parisian friends would give him all this artwork, and he said, it's just amazing. And the guy would simply say to him, Timothy, play that picture. And I'll tell you, when listening to Tim, to find how you might have blue sky, and then you might see an eagle up in that sky, and then you might see a sparrow, or you might see a hare, and he's got to dictate. I tell you, it's an art form in itself. So having that knowledge given to me by Tim, and then hearing you today, your time, expressing and explaining the same thing, you're not coming from a headspace. You're actually coming from the whole body, your whole skin as an organ is actually making you, or putting you in a position of feeling the emotion of the actual piece of music. I commend you.
Absolutely.
I think it's fantastic. It's a fantastic gift.
Well, I mean, that you hit the nail on the head of that. It's very much that spontaneous feeling, or why. I mean, whether it be a big film score like John Williams or a painting like with Tim, how they react to it. That first reaction is always the most important one. Because the moment you start thinking, you lose the process of that pure channel happening, because you're so wrapped into, it must be like this, it must be like that, but you'll never ever beat the real pure intuitive first moment reaction. And that's what I try and be here and available for to do. Which was a nightmare when I was working before I was full-time doing this, because I would have to almost kind of draw waveforms on napkins or kind of la 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 down to a dictaphone or something like this. It was a very, very strange way to be, but it's something I enjoy immensely, and I hopefully will continue doing if I'm able and capable, and the messages or the music still keeps coming through me.
So we're going to play the last one, The Secret Garden. That's from The Secret of Fairies.
Secret of Fairies, yeah. Secret Garden, yeah. That's one I did back in 2003.
20 years ago now.
20 years ago, yeah. That's 20 years ago, yeah. And Beyond the Mist, my latest one is this year. So yeah.
The Secret of Fairies. Here we go.
So what I was going to ask was, like when you're quiet, do you sort of hear the sounds come in, or do you just feel it? How does it sort of come in to your being, and then you think, da 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 da?
Well, exactly like that. I mean, sometimes I can wake up in the morning and I've got a tune in my head, or I've got a song in my head, whether it be a song, because almost my body is saying that's what I need to hear. And if I can't actually hear it because I don't own it, then I must write it or record it or do something with it. But yeah, it can sometimes be that, or I could be watching a movie, or I could be watching or out walking in nature. It just all depends on the moment itself. But yeah, very much that can be it. Or it could be just here, just playing around with sounds, and I like what that's doing, and then hit record. It's very, there's kind of no fixed process. I can't sit, for instance, I never sit down and go, right, this week I'm going to write a best-selling album, because you're creating a very dangerous feeling for yourself. And that's the lovely thing about being an independent artist, because I literally can just go wherever the mind, body decides for me to go. There is that loveliness to that, and the idea that I can go out and perform it, share it, and go to events and things is just wonderful. The reactions that people get from it is wonderful. It's magical, and I'm always incredibly humbled by the responses, But as long as I stay true to me and true to the intention of what I'm doing with music, then that's it. I suppose when it goes beyond that, then I'm not being myself.
Yeah.
So it's honoring me as well as the moment and the music.
Fabulous.
It sounded a bit like a Game of Thrones there.
Written before Game of Thrones came out of my head.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So it takes you into that space, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. It takes you to a place, and music can transport you to all different places and moments of feeling. Yeah.
So 432 has been a new beckoning for you?
Yeah. In the last 3-4 years, I've been switching from the 440 hertz to 432, which is the frequencies that tune more into the frequencies of the universe and to nature. And it's made such a difference. I really find it's made such a difference. And I never even knew I was playing out of that frequency until it was given to me by a fantastic handpan maker and player called Philip Bramhill, who sadly passed away this year. And he was basically at fairs like I do, and he was playing his handpans, and I can't play along with your music, Neil, because you're on a different frequency to mine. Then he told me about the frequency of 432 compared to the 440. And I then researched it and then decided, if I can tune my studio to that, great. And I could do that. And that was another enlightening moment, you could say, or awakening moment, if you want, and I've not gone back since. It feels so nice. It's a real lovely purity of sound that works lovely, not only for the healing sounds of handpan, gongs and things, but also even with the synthesizers. It really creates a whole different level.
So how do you actually do it with the synthesizers?
How do you mean?
How do you actually do it? How do you?
I've got to, my software here, with the software, I've got to tell the software what, I've got to tune the software to I can tune it to a particular frequency. So you go up so many semitones or down so many semitones. And so I've had to kind of discover how to do that into the 432 hertz or whatever else of frequencies are out there. There's 528 and there's a few others as well. And that's basically it, because you can't just, for instance, that piece of music just playing, Secrets of Fairies, to make that as a 432 hertz piece of music, I have to go back and re-record it from 432 hertz in its original conception. I can't just go back and change it to 432 hertz and hit record. It doesn't do that because the original piece wasn't recorded in 432. So it has to be, the studio has to be prepared for that already. Hope that answers the question.
Well, actually, I've actually been looking at putting all our songs onto 432, and there is a conversion software program that will do it.
Oh, there is. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. See, I'm learning something new every day.
Well, I do know it's going to be a lengthy job, but I haven't been given it some really serious thought. Yeah.
I thought after doing 34 albums, to go back 30 albums and start again would be a bit of a challenge. Although with the Beyond the Mist one, my latest album, that CD2 or the second CD on that is the same Echoes from the Mist from 30 years ago, re-recorded into the 432 hertz as if I'd recorded it now, which I did completely from scratch this year. And I thought I'd do that to honor the 30 years. To kind of sell it as a celebration, which was a nice process. It was nice to revisit that and think, well, how would I have recorded that album if I'd have done it now? And so same melodies, just some of the different textures, and of course the frequency changed to 432. But really, really enjoyable and moment or memory to revisit.
Andrena actually asked you what inspires you. I mean, I was just sitting here thinking Archimedes was having a bath and he got Eureka. And then you wake up in the morning, you might have the muses have downloaded the song in your head, so the rented space in your head. So do you have a little voice recorder and do you hit it and then just I don't know, whistle the beat or just hum the beat or something, where you have to come to the studio straight away to actually compose and hit record?
I kind of like to have everything here available and ready, so that just say, everything's on available now. I mean, so if I get an idea for something, then I can do something right away. There it is. So I can be doing daily things, daily chores, whatever I need to do here, or obviously I have to get it all up and have it all switched on ready. But I largely keep the theme or the tune in my mind until this is all ready to play. If not, I've got another song on that I'd like to play in the morning, and I'll put that on.
Yeah, sure.
it's just a very simple process. Some people will turn the radio on or the TV on. I tend to go with music.
Sure. Hey, in the morning there, you get the wildlife, or the bird life, I should say, and they're all flitting around and all that stuff. Do they give you any sorts of inspiration?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've used natural sound, and I've recorded natural sound for several of my albums. Rivers, streams, bird, rain, river. It depends really. I'll get on the project, but yeah, very much. The dawn chorus here is fabulous, fabulous.
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
Yeah, nature is a very inspirational thing. Very inspirational.
Okay, very good.
Fabulous. Yeah, was I going to ask something, or you might have answered the question, Jeff, because I know I was going to say about the 432, because that seems to be the key these days.
What price are you selling your music on this one here?
Well, I can only give you the prices in British pounds, I'm afraid, Jeff. So
That's okay.
I don't know what the equivalent would be. But you can download full albums on my website from £7. There's some single tracks on there for £1. There's the free one, of course, I mentioned earlier with the Oceanscape. Bandcamp's different, of course, because they've got their own things that's on there. And besides, what's on Bandcamp is only a selection of my work. I'm slowly processing all the work over onto Bandcamp, but everything in particular is on. The whole catalogue is available on the website neilhofficial.online, and you can also hear extended samples on the music samples page. So you run here in a quick 30-second snippet. You can go to the music samples page, hear a good 10 minutes per album. And then the CDs, £11, and then there's a postage charge, and that's about it. Yeah, I mean, some of them vary in price depending on the length. So double albums are a bit more, and there's a triple which is a bit more. So yeah.
So the Australians just doubled it from pounds to Australian. They got an idea.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I actually had someone who from New Zealand who ordered some stuff, and then I had to ship it to New Zealand. So that was quite nice. So it gets around.
There was a time about 15 years ago when the British were over here at the cricket grounds singing $3 to a pound. They're really giving the Australians a bit of curry. Nice to see we're getting a 2 for 1. Well, mate, is there any questions that Andrena and I should have asked you that we haven't asked you? I mean, obviously, yeah.
Well, I mean, I will say that if this is okay, that to support my music direct is to go to the Bandcamp site and to my own website. I'm not supported by other streaming sites at all, so that's something for people just to be aware of. Which of course is just then supporting the artist then direct, and it's that kind of support that keeps me going. The fantastic support over the years I've had from people purchasing my music has kept me doing what I love doing, and long may it continue. So but some of my music starts from as little as nothing to £1 up to, I think the maximum is 20 for a triple CD. So yeah, that's the best way to support my work. I have got a diary of events page if people want to see what events I'm at as well. If they want to join my monthly newsletter, they can email me. I think there it is. So if they drop me an email, say add me to the newsletter, they'll get a monthly newsletter of all up-to-date information and what's going on and offers and all sorts of things. It's even just by joining the newsletter, you also join, you enter as part of a raffle, which is a free thing that just gets a CD that's given out every month to anyone who gets drawn out of the hat. I mean, we literally do draw a name out of the hat. And so that's a nice little bonus, and a thank you to anyone who signs up for that. So,
yeah. The website there tells everybody all the different events you're going to through the summer season, yeah?
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, it's a very simple click and find. Also, if there's anyone out there who's interested in working with me on a commission basis, I also have a commissions and copyright-free music page where people can contact me about myself adding music to a project if they're interested. I also have copyright-free music that's all downloadable so that people can download full half-an-hour tracks, which includes the copyright as well, so that they're free to use that on background music for anything in particular that they feel it could be useful for, which can kind of help people if they money says otherwise. I don't know. It's just something I thought I would share, and lengthy tracks that could easily be spoken over and worked with. But yeah, everything's on the website really, and the contact page too.
The more 432 music you got, you can need. Put them in WeTransfer, and we'll put them on the radio station.
All right.
The playlist. Hey, you guys have got
Actually,
to go.
one of the tracks you've got there, a voyage to a voyage into dreams. That's in 432. I think that was that's the only one of the tracks which has sent you in 432. But I can certainly do that.
I'll put that in the playlist. Definitely put it.
Brilliant.
In the playlist.
All right.
Okay.
Andrena, you got anything else to say? No.
No, it's been an absolute delight, Neil. It's lovely to see you again, and like I said, didn't have time at the healing weekend because the weather was just so atrocious on the Friday.
It was interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah, well,
thank you both so much. It really is a privilege to have been asked to come on your Dreaming the New Dream show this morning and this evening. And I wish you both well, and thank you to everyone who watched and listened. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah,
well, thank you for coming. It's been an absolute delight for us. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you to